54 minutes.
54 minutes. That's what I got.
Hey, guys, we got 54 minutes of the next 54 minutes, and it's going to be the best 54 minutes of your life. Welcome back to another episode of Goose Chasing, fresh off that NWTF weekend here in Nashville, Tennessee. Bro, check this shit out.
I was looking at that.
Bro, bought two things at NWTF. One was this fucking sick Realtree Michael Waddell Bone Collector Edition, old school, original, OG, original Realtree camo. This thing is flawless.
It is flawless.
Dude, you could wear this. You could wear this turkey hunt, and you could wear this out on a Saturday night. That's the beauty of this thing. It's like a mullet. It's business in the front, party in the back.
Well, maybe it wasn't that camo, but I feel like Post Malone was just rocking a shirt like that in his last.
He was. Because he just did or I just saw that he did like a collab with Luke Combs, I think.
Yeah, he did.
And that'll probably be sick. But yeah, dude, Post Malone's country, man. He's country boy.
He needs to, obviously he is, but he's got to dabble with that space a little bit. I like the collabs.
You know what I think he needs to do is go on a hunt with us. Like, let's get that dude. Let's get that dude in a blind somewhere. Let's get him ripping a freaking odd 6 at a 4x4. You know?
Do you think he would?
Oh yeah, dude. He shoots guns and shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't be into like the hunting aspect of things.
I think he would be into going, but I feel like he would be just like, I know. Like, he's just so like,
yeah,
that's cool, man. I don't want to, I just want to experience. I just want to be there, man. Just chill. And I could be wrong.
I think we should try and find out, personally.
Get him and Luke. Come on out.
That'd be sick. That would be sick. Get him and Luke Combs coming out for a little hunt. A little side-by-side action. You take one, I'll take the other. We'll film. They can hunt. You can have my tag. I'm just here for the good time. Seriously, I would give up my tag. Like, at camp, New York, for instance, I would give up shooting a buck in New York to be able to spend a hunt camp week or whatever with Post Malone and Luke Combs in camp like that. Think about that. Why would you not give up? Are you too proud that you got to fill a tag in that instance? No way. That would be insane, dude. That would be an experience of a lifetime. I'd give it up. I'd give
it up too.
That'd be unreal. You imagine Post Malone walking into Camp Cutlet? Wonder what he would think about cutlets.
Oh, he would love them.
You think
Unless he's like a vegetarian. I don't know if
he's definitely not a vegetarian. He's always out eating
slamming burgers and shit.
Burgers, chicken, fried chicken. Yeah, like he's a foodie, I feel like.
I think he would like it.
Dude, he would crush cutlets. Throw a fucking Bud Light next to a plate of cutlets and like some white pasta. Shit. He might never leave.
I don't know anybody that's had a cutlet and was like, just not for me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're right. That's
I mean, venison too, but chicken, any cutlet, who is like, I just don't like it.
And you know what's funny? We just did, we just had a couple of our friends over a couple weeks ago. We made Sunday sauce and we made a batch of cutlets, chicken, because, the venison in my freezer is about as thin as a number 2 pencil. But, dude, but people don't make cutlets. Like, we grew up on cutlets. People don't make those.
Not even chicken. Not any cutlet.
Right, exactly. No cutlets. People don't make cutlets for themselves. So we made cutlets and like our friends were tweaking, dude. Like, this is insane. How do you guys make this? And I'm just like, it's second nature to me. Like, I got one eye closed and one eye open. I'm just like, whisking eggs and throwing parsley and chopping
cheese,
garlic out the air.
Get a tray full of them crumbs and just slap that meat in there and
just get it in there and tenderize it while it's getting breaded. Oh my gosh. And the best way to eat them right out the pan.
Yeah,
and
I know.
You know what was another eye opener to me is all of our friends, and some of them have a little Italian heritage in their blood, but none of them knew about the lemon drizzle with a little Parmesan sprinkle on the cutlet. None of them knew, dude. We opened eyes. It was incredible.
I don't know how I mean,
but you just you realize, I mean, that's where you gotta put the prayer pose up and thank God that we grew up in the family that we did. I mean, we were eating cutlets before we had all of our teeth, probably.
Yeah.
And we just
Can he chew this? You think he can chew it? He'll get it down.
Gum chewing that cutlet. Just put a little bit more lemon on there. Soften it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness. I don't even know what we were talking about originally.
I had him last night.
You did?
Yeah.
Dad pounded some cutties.
Dad made some cutlets. Went over there for
venison too.
Some Sunday dinner. No venison.
God.
But
sucked this year.
Yeah. Well, he had made like the he made like the chicken thighs, big drumsticks too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think the cutlets were like an add-on.
Gotcha.
But man, they were good.
It's a process, but I mean, well worth it every time. Well worth the process. That's actually, I feel like that should be a goal. I want to share a cutlet meal with like Waddell. I want to share a cutlet meal with Waddell. I want to share a cutlet meal with like Cam Haynes. Who's some other notables in the hunting world that we like? Nick Mund, T-Bone. I would love to share a cutlet meal with T-Bone.
Yeah,
I'd love to cook cutlets for T-Bone.
He's a T-Bone. We've met T-Bone a couple times, but that dude's a nice guy.
He's a great dude.
Genuine.
But dude, that's the thing with the Bone Collector crew, and I don't know why I've been feeling like this pull of energy towards them big time. But Waddell and Cam Haynes just did a podcast. If you haven't listened to it, you next drive up and back to New York or whatever, you got to throw this thing on. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like, think about Waddell and Cam Haynes as hunters, two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like two opposite ends of the spectrum. And they say that in their podcast and they own it. And but they're like talking and cutting up and like, I mean, the basis of the podcast is like, the measuring of the deer and all that stuff. It's a dying thing and they don't give a shit about any of it, but being able to share, like for them to go up into the mountains and elk hunt for a week, like being able to share that time and probably have like, Ranella and Joe Rogan with them or whatever. Like, can you imagine like being in a wall tent with those guys just in the middle of fucking nowhere? That would be insane. It would be insane.
It'd be awesome.
But
it is like, the more you think, it's the adventure.
Dude, it's
the chase and the adventure, because we always talk about it. Like, you can chase a big buck and do all this all you want. When you get it, it's like it's over. I know, and another one starts, but I don't know. You just look at when I think about all of our trips, and specifically like the North Dakota one. When I look back at it, when I just think about North Dakota, I don't think about bucks we've shot.
No, I agree.
I just think about the trip. Like, dude, I think about the freaking drive out there. I don't know why. That's like one of the biggest things in my head. I'm like, just to drive out there, the anticipation. You just think about going to the cafe. You think about going out to scout. I'm thinking about like some of the spots that we get to sit on and scout on a hill and just overlook the country of nothing, of just like no human. You're just out there in nature. I don't know. It's funny. That's what I think about. North Dakota pops in my head. I do not
Well,
think about, I don't think about like holding a buck that we shot or anything like that. It's
no,
just,
I completely agree. Well, you think about getting pulled over in September and then getting pulled over by the same lady cop in October
yeah,
a month later. You know,
yeah,
you think about like the rides home in the in the middle of the night, you know, the trips that we literally pushed it to the limit of the very last day that we could hunt, and literally we're ripping stands down in the pitch black.
yeah,
We're tearing stands down in the pitch black and then loading the truck and leaving by midnight and
yeah.
just starting to drive because we got an 18-hour drive, and it's like
We pushed it.
time is of the essence, but we pushed that time. We
Well,
pushed that adventure, that trip, that experience back as long as we could. And it you're right. It wasn't for the buck. Like it
you
was
just don't want it
like
to end.
that was like the end goal that we kind of put
Yeah.
for ourselves, but you just didn't want it to end.
No.
You just
Even
yeah.
even when you push things an extra day or two and you get that extra time, you still leave and you're like, God, I wish I had another day.
I know. I know.
And
And
like
it's
it's just like you're like, I do not want to leave. I just don't want to leave.
No, it's literally getting up in the morning and putting out a pot of coffee and filling a cup and walking out and making a stupid Instagram video, sipping it and scratching my ass like in the sunrise of North Dakota. Like, yeah, it is so about the adventure and being able to share that, like that adventure with somebody else. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like and like notching your belt that way as opposed to notching it with a buck on the wall or filling your trophy room or whatever. Like, I mean, I look back at Kansas, dude, and the time that we had obviously together in Kansas. You fly down here, we get that road trip to Kansas, so it's kind of that similar feel to North Dakota, but like over the last 10 years, we haven't really, you know, North Dakota's been a constant thing. So we're kind of we're going out there. We've been there and we've done that. We're learning, you know, new shit along the way. But this was like a whole new experience and world. Like we're driving out there together. We don't know what it's gonna look like. We don't know where we're hunting. We don't know what to expect.
No.
And but then the whole time, dude, like just running and gunning. We're going to different stands. Some of it was blind, some of it we're using trail camera knowledge for. And the time that we got to spend with Parker and just, you know,
It was fun. It was awesome.
That
But
shit
yeah,
is
same
it's
thing.
it.
We stretched that an extra like half day. And when we left, I'm like, I don't, when can we come back?
Yeah, when can we come
I
back?
want to be here longer. You
It's
know,
good. It's good shit.
and obviously it all helps. It's when the people you're hunting with
Are cool.
are awesome and you know, yeah, are cool.
I mean, most of the time that's how it is though. Like you're not unless it's
Yeah.
just kind of like a random thing, like you get thrown into the mix somewhere. You're not going to hunt camp like with an asshole, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, no, most of the time
You,
you're not, but it could
you're
happen,
really
but
not. Yeah, it could happen, but most of the time you're not. I Cam Haynes, he told a story on the podcast, and he was like in camp. I can't remember where they were, elk camp somewhere, and this dude shot a bull. Um some TV personality. He wouldn't like
say.
mention who it was, but he like showed Cam the footage and it was like a marginal hit, whatever. And the dude was like, Cam, like, what do you think this bull scores? Do you think he scores bigger than 353? And Cam like was like, the fuck are you talking about? 353. He's like, well, my biggest bull's 353. And if this one doesn't score over that, like I'm gonna be pissed. And Cam was like, I was livid. Livid.
Wow.
He's like, it was the biggest turnoff ever. He's like, dude, get out, like, get away from me. But think about that, dude. Think about that statement.
You don't care about anything.
You just took an animal's life.
Yeah.
And if it's an inch smaller than 352, you're just the fact that you say that you're going to be pissed about that is fucked up.
It is. That is crazy.
I mean, it is, and that is so like beyond the point of all of it. It's just, it's ridiculous. But
That's wild. That is.
don't go
That
to
is
hunt
wild.
camp with an asshole. I guess that's the moral of the story.
No, even when we hunt up in New York at camp, like when I think about the hunting season, I mean, I really just gravitate to our rut week. Like I think about being in camp with
Yeah,
everybody,
right.
or like I think about like going back to the chase thing. Like I think about chasing a certain buck, or like where's the next big buck going to get shot and stuff like that. But it's never like about ones we've shot or like hanging your hat, like just like
Yeah,
holding on to something that's, I don't know. It's just
yeah.
always about the chase. It's about the adventure. And
Well, and even though like even the successful hunts, like I'll go back and like I can replay at least the ones that I experienced specifically, whether it was behind the camera for you or
yeah,
Dad or Uncle Jay, or ones that I've, filmed myself. Like I can go back regardless of the footage or not, even hunts that were previous of us collecting footage, and I can replay those hunts in my head like they happened yesterday.
yeah,
But the memories that I gravitate to from those hunts are when everybody, the collection of everybody getting back together and celebrating that moment,
yeah,
together, like The Godfather. I don't think about like when I think about The Godfather, like my instant feeling is when you, Dad, and I are in that bottom, standing over that deer, just in complete awe,
yeah,
like in complete awe over what we all just accomplished.
right,
Because I pulled the trigger, but everybody had a part in that
sure,
throughout the whole season, throughout my whole lifetime of hunting, like all of that. And that's a special deer that I don't take lightly or take for granted at all. But the moment that it created for like the three of us, and then the timing of it, Uncle Jay is up for Thanksgiving, and him and his family now get to enjoy it with us. Like that is what I think about the most. I mean, the Nipsey hunt for me, finding that deer in a literal blizzard with Uncle Jay, and then you and Dad are in Ohio, and you leave a family birthday party in Ohio at like 10:30 at night in a blizzard to drive back to New York, where you just left after the morning hunt, and
yeah,
you're driving back to New York to celebrate. And it, like,
yeah,
obviously the deer was the focal point, but that was an adventure beyond
yeah,
the actual hunt. Like,
yeah,
dude, we were cooking dinner. We were cooking burgers for ourselves for dinner at 3 in the morning
yeah,
because of how much of an adventure that
yeah.
was.
And you just want to be like, we just wanted to be there with you guys. We just want
That's
to be
all it
there.
was.
Like
That's
obviously,
all.
yeah, you want to see the deer, yeah, but we want to just be there.
Dude,
Like
our neighbor
you want to
Corey,
feel it.
he's over till 3, 4 in the morning. It's a Sunday night. Everybody's got to work tomorrow. Like, and we're
Yeah.
doing that shit at that moment. And I remember like literally going to bed at 4:30 in the morning, and I wake up without an alarm clock at sunrise. I'll never forget. And like it was almost like Twilight Zone. Like where am
Did it
I?
happen?
Where am I? And you peek out the window, and he's sitting in the camp driveway in the back of the truck. It's like, holy shit, man, it did happen. And
Did
we
it
and we were eating burgers at
happen?
3:30 in the morning for
Pans
our
still on
dinner.
the stove.
Yeah, the pan is still greasy on the stove. Actually, there's still a burger in it if anybody wants some leftovers. But you and Dad coming up there again, I mean, just like that's it. Like you said, you don't think about those specific deer. I mean, even last week we were talking about the Sventek hunt. Like the buck was awesome. He could have looked like anything at that point of the adventure that we took ourselves on that day was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Was insane. And that's what you think about, and during that hunt. And like, yeah, there's the cherry on top or whatever as the deer, but the adventure is truly, it's it.
The adventure is it. And honestly, yeah, it goes back like we do less of this because we're just not with each other as much, but like some of the best hunts are when you're with someone. And like you said, if you happen to like harvest the animal when you're by yourself, you get together with somebody, to go recover or whatever. And that's like that's like the best part of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about, again, like I know we do a lot of solo filming, solo hunting now, but the best hunts I think are when you're with someone because you
yeah.
cannot see deer. You can you just be, I don't know. That's what it's about to me. You're just out there enjoying it. And
Well, and the cool part about, kind of what we've been able to develop and make up in our own little hunt camp is like, no matter if I'm down here in Tennessee, you're in New York, Ohio, wherever Uncle Jay's at, wherever Dad's at, like the phone calls that, through technology, we've been able to create that kind of like that energy in that moment,
like you're together.
I
Yeah,
mean, even
that's definitely true.
for instance, like the Cartman hunt comes to mind. Okay. Like, you're a half mile away from me and you see that deer at whatever, right at sunrise, and you saw him twice, and we're kind of texting back and forth of what you're seeing, what I'm seeing. And by 8:45 in the morning, that deer's in front of me. I shoot him. I watch him go down, and like the phone call between the two of us, even though like obviously we're gonna join up and celebrate this after, but the phone call is insane. Both trees are shaking.
Yeah.
Like it's out of control. So yeah, I mean, like, and same thing, the Bernie hunt. You know, I'm sitting on a piece of public land in the middle of Tennessee. Part of me doesn't even know where I'm at. I'm just trying to see a deer, and it's opening day up in New York, and you call me and you're like, I just shot Bernie, and my hunt was over at that point. Like the celebration starts all the way from Tennessee. Like literally, my hunt was over. I remember I stood up. I'm literally pacing up on this ridge on the phone, like talking loud. I didn't give
Yeah.
a shit at that point, but success was already had
Yeah,
for that
with the
day.
team. Yeah.
For that day, and so that was that was badass. And that, like, even your phone call with Dad, same thing. You guys are a quarter mile apart at that point. Like you're basically at one end of a giant field and he's at the other,
Yep.
and he can hear your gunshot, and you could feel his excitement through the phone. You could feel your excitement just watching it, through the phone. And that, I mean, yeah, if that doesn't give you like goosebumps or get you fired up or make you want to partake a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what will, but
Yeah, and I don't know. It just it's the best. It's the best part of it. But
yeah.
and Dad'll even say this too sometimes when you get caught up in the like inches, like the big deer part of it, you do that too much and you end up hunting alone
Yep.
because you don't want, like, it's too fragile. Like you don't want anybody else touching it.
Right,
And
right.
it's so about that you lose what it's really about, or like what really got you into doing this. And
Yeah.
then like you do it so alone, and then you end up shooting the deer and you're like, oh well,
Who
there's
do I
nobody
have?
here.
Who can I cheers with?
Yeah, like I don't know. It's almost like that's kind of like a bittersweet thing, because yeah, you can accomplish it, but you can't, if you can't share it with your circle, then
If you got no circle,
is it really that
yeah.
awesome? Like I don't know. It's just
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like the Cam Haynes and Waddell's podcast literally ended with that exact conversation. Like, Waddell's sitting there and they're in they're in Cam's like man cave or whatever. They got elk hanging and on the ground and all around them. And Waddell's like, Cam, we haven't talked about. He's like, we've talked about like where were you at when you shot that bull and who was with you when you shot that one. He's like, we haven't talked about an inch or a measurement or anything this entire time. He's like, and Cam was like, exactly. He's like, if we were talking about that, he's like, I'd be sitting in here alone, you know, drinking a bourbon alone, looking at all these trophies alone. Like, my wife's probably pissed off at me because I spent the extra time to go get that one, but he's whatever. He's like, that's a 378-inch bull. So sick. But Waddell's like, did your wife think you were any hotter? Did she want to?
Yeah.
Did she want to have sex with you any? Like, he literally says that. He like, because you shot that bull, did she want to have sex with you anymore? Were your kids happier? Are they like, you know,
because it was 5 more inches than
whatever your previous one? Like, no, they don't give a shit.
No one gives a shit. And that goes like, there's a balance too, because there's personal goals. Like, I like hunting big deer, like, and not some of it's not even like the antler size. It's just a mature buck. Like, we've hunted long enough that that's the challenge that we want to take on. But
absolutely,
the last like the last 5 years bucks we've shot, the last thing that I've wanted to do as soon as you get the deer is like, we got to measure this thing.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time we're just like, we don't need to, like, we don't need to, but we end up doing it because like a bunch of people ask or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just like, after you get it, again, it just goes back to, it's the chase for that animal and then who you're doing it with and who you're celebrating it with. Because after you get it, I'm like, I don't give a shit what this thing scores.
Right.
This thing could be, I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
there's some deer that we've shot that I still haven't scored.
Yeah.
And they're 5-year-old deer or whatever.
Right.
It's
right.
But because that's not what the point was. It wasn't like, I want to shoot this deer because I think he's I think he's a 160-inch 8-point, and I just want to shoot an 8-point that's that big. It's like, who? What?
That's insane.
Yeah, like, we don't care.
That is insane.
I don't know. It's not about. It's just not. It doesn't matter anyway, because you could. What you say the score is, people on social media are going to say it's not that anyway.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It
literally doesn't matter. Someone's going to say, well, I'd like to use his tape measure. So who gives a shit what it scores?
Right.
Because it could be 200 inches to you, but to somebody else, it's going to be 150.
Yeah.
Or the opposite. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, most 90% of people aren't going to see your bull in person. So, or your buck in person, whatever it is. So the fact that it's 373 or 150, like, it doesn't matter.
Literally doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, like the Nipsey, that people shit on that all the time. Oh, that deer's not 150. That, I'm like, first of all, like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. The cool part about Nipsey was just the insane genetics that deer had, and the nutrition provided mainly by yourself that helped him exploit his genetics to the fullest.
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible to me from a from a nature perspective. Like, that is incredible to me. The fact that, you know, it's a crazy thing to me that, you know, some deer can be 8 points their entire life, and that's just their genetic makeup, and they might not get over 110, 120-inch caliber of a buck, but that's just what they're gonna be. You may see them a lot, you may whatever, and then you got other deer that literally, like Nipsey, where, you know, and you pegged it right off the rip when he was a 3-year-old. You're like, if we let this deer go, there's a good chance that he could blow up into something crazy. And he fucking did.
Yeah.
But you could just see in the genetic makeup that, like, the mass of his rack, the extra little, like, points that were already forming while he was at a young age. And then all of a sudden, like, he gets a little bit of maturity. And I mean, in most cases, not in most cases, like in the big buck, like, trophy world, that deer probably still would have been off limits.
Oh, yeah.
He's a 4-year-old deer.
For a Lee and Tiffany or a Drury, like they're not shooting that deer.
No,
You're
they're
not
not
allowed to.
shooting that deer, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, but that is it's because now that's in an inches game essentially. And don't get me wrong, like would I have like would it have been sick to see, like just see what he would have sprouted into with another year for sure. But I wouldn't take that away for anything.
But the point was, but the point was all year, like we were chasing that deer. Like
right.
that was the adventure you set out for that year. That was the quest.
Yeah.
And again, it was the story it wasn't like we think this deer is going to be 170 inches. So now we have to shoot him. Like that wasn't it was just,
that was Nipsey.
We
passed him 1 year and now he's another year older and now we want to shoot him.
Yeah. But we also have done that we did that with Cartman.
Right.
Who was older.
A year older buck.
And he was 100 and high 20s or whatever he is, 130-inch 8-point.
Yeah.
So, and to me, that's just as sick of a buck. Like the fact that that deer was that old and that we followed him for that. We followed him for longer because that particular property that we acquired, he was like the first little racked buck that we like knew on it.
Yeah, because he had that little like heavy rack to him, and he was always chubby, like even in his cheeks. That's why he got the name Cartman.
Yeah,
like he had this little he had this pot belly on him, like he's walking around just like he's just like fat bastard. It's like
bone structure. Yeah, bone structure wise, he's not like a massive deer. Like you didn't get up to him and you were like, this thing is a behemoth of an animal.
Right.
So it's just like it was a genetic thing. I mean, 90% of people that see the deer when he's 5 are like, that deer's not 5.
Right.
Or
if they're judging it off the rack size, they're like, yeah, that deer's not that old. But his genetics, what God gave to Nipsey and the bone on his head, he gave to Cartman in his belly.
Yeah.
And his ass.
It's still cool to see what the age does to deer though, because look what Cartman was when he was 2 and 3.
I know, it's crazy.
And he's like this tiny 8-point, and then like once he gets to his peak maturity, 5 years old, he's like, he's got a nice rack on his head.
Well, like his
like Crockett.
Right, his blow up was just from like a
tiny,
I don't know, a little, a basket, a little. I say mass, but like he for the small frame that he had, he did have a little mass to him.
Yeah,
and he just sprouted into like a Pope and Young type deer, and that was his blow up.
Funny too, because this deer always busted tines.
Yeah, that year he was clean.
But you just go off of, I don't know what it is, genetics or how they, what it really is. But like we have sheds from this deer from a couple of years of sheds of them prior, and you hold this rack, and you're just like, obviously it's not a big rack anyway, but you're just like, why does this thing feel like a feather? Yeah. Like it just feels like it's not strong, like not like
It wasn't. It was
you feel like the density in some horns. This thing was just like brittle. And I'm like, well, this is probably why he's busting his horns every year, because it doesn't take much.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was the difference of like, think about like cutting like a green tree,
exactly.
And the trunk of that tree is like, it's like a Louisville Slugger. Like I'll go to bat with this thing because whatever I'm hitting.
Firewood that's wet. You're holding it and you're like, this thing's got some density to it.
Yeah, if I hit somebody with this thing, it's gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Well, his rack was like a dry rotted piece of wood.
Yeah.
It was like
super dry.
It was like one of those pieces of wood that you find like washed up on the shore, and you pick it up and you're like, I could throw this thing a country mile.
Yeah.
It's so damn light.
Driftwood. That's what he had in his head. Driftwood.
We should have called him the Drifter.
My gosh.
That's funny shit.
That is funny. But yeah, it just goes to all deer are different.
It's funny, like going back to the adventure part of it, like trying to like take some of our old content and just you know, push some like positivity and like just fun moments and like the adventure moments, you know what I mean? So I put together that a little reel of Bernie, you know, he's coming in on the end of the food or like down from the bottom of the food plot, you stop him, shoot him, and then it cuts right to the phone call with you and dad. And like the essence of the video in my mind is the phone call. Like that was the caption, that was everything. It was about the phone call, like that moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But my God, man, what everybody resorted to was like, he gut shot that deer. That was a horrible shot. Fucking, you like, there's a reason why there's no photos because he never found them because that was
My
a horrible
God.
shot. I'm like,
I did. I read
holy,
all these comments yesterday. Every other one was gut shot, gut
I'm
shot,
like,
gut
holy
shot.
shit, man. Like, that is what you got out of it. Like,
Like,
that's what
I
you
didn't see
got.
any blood explode out of that deer. You definitely gut shot it. It's like,
My
what?
God.
You know, and the funny thing
Insane.
is, it just, I guess the point of what you're saying is that everyone has to point out or like resort to the negative. They have to.
Like it's going to
Like,
be the death of hunting. That's what's going to. We're going to be our own demise. It's going to
it's
be the death of hunting.
it's the
Unfortunately,
it's the need. But like, I get, you know, when I first shot the deer, there's a lot of snow on the ground, and it's like all the snow was on the cover and the trees, especially at the edge of the field. And when he like, as soon as he dipped into the woods, I just couldn't see anything anymore. Um, so when I went back and I watched the video when I'm in the blind and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't tell where I shot. I mean, it kind of looks like if I shot him back, but it's just funny that everyone's point. I don't know. Everyone resorts to like, he got shot the thing, he got shot.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
if you know, if you've experienced this enough, and you watch the deer's reaction,
yeah,
like when I remember being on the ridge in Tennessee, and you send me or you call me, you're freaking out, you know, just shot Bernie, whatever, and then I could hear already the kind of questioning in your mind because, like you said, off the like if you just watch it in fast motion, how the bullet hit him and rattled his cage, like it looked like it was a little bit farther back than maybe it was. Um, but as soon as you sent me the video and you see his reaction and he takes off and he's 30 to 40 yards from the wood line, but as soon as he gets to the wood line, he stops. He wants to go left and then he can't figure it out and he just bombs to the right. I'm like, that deer's done. He's
yeah. He
dead on
doesn't
his
know what
feet.
he's
He has
doing.
no idea where he is. Like it's
Yeah,
so obvious. It is so obvious that that deer is literally going down right there.
yeah.
Um,
And obviously, I'm like, given the situation of the hunt, I'm second guessing. You know, you always
you
are
always,
like,
yeah,
we've been through stuff before. We were like, you're not sure, and then you know whatever. Plus, obviously, I was surrounded by neighbors, so I was kind of just like, I was just second guessing
yeah,
what was going on. But yeah, after you look at it, and you know, I went back to camp, got dad, we came back, and the deer's literally laying on the edge of the field. Like I don't understand. I was watching him go down. I just didn't see him fall and die.
right. No,
You
yeah,
know,
you were,
he's behind this little bush that's full of snow, so I literally couldn't see behind it. But literally, when we walked over to him, I'm like, how did I not see him? He's literally right here. Like he went 55 yards.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
And he friggin' bulldozed. I mean, his rack was like stuck around this tree, and like I
yeah,
mean,
you had to fucking
he's
yank
yeah,
his ass out of there.
yeah, he was stuck under all the shit. Like he crash landed, and the shot, you know, we pick him up. It's not. It's literally like right behind the shoulder. You know, where you sometimes the rattle of the cage, like I don't know, you see the bullet hit, and it like
It can shake a different part of them based on how they're
yeah,
standing, probably or whatever. Yeah,
but it was right behind the shoulder. I mean, I double lunged the thing, smoked
clearly.
them. But yeah, everybody was like, no, it's just you didn't find that deer, gut shot, whatever. First of all, if you do gut shot a deer with a 30-06 and you don't find him,
Shame on you.
like unless that deer buried himself in a swamp and he's like under mud, you need to find that deer.
Yeah, because that bullet is mushrooming in there and
you are
wreaking
rattling his insides. And yeah, if you don't like, I get there's circumstances, but if you got
Well,
a deer with 30-06, you should still find him.
and but I guess
But I didn't.
the point was of the video, like, and I'm trying, part of it for me, or for us, I should say, is like just trying to like create a little bit more positivity, like a little bit more
Togetherness. Like the
togetherness.
phone
Like
call was like,
this
what
is
it's about.
yeah, exactly. Like this is what it's about. Like obviously, maybe I shouldn't have just cut the whole shot of it out and just put the phone call, but you kind of want to put like two and two together a little bit. But it's just like, man, that was like so not the point of the video, but we're resorting back to how
What did
shitty
he
of a
do wrong?
hunter Dean was in the moment. And like some people are like, he got too excited. That's got to be his first buck. And it's like, is that a insult? Like, what are you
I don't even
saying?
know. That's
Like,
just, yeah, again, that goes back to this person is just let me figure out the word, like,
yeah,
and credit some people. Some people actually commented with what you said in the caption with like, who you calling?
right. Who you
Or,
calling? That's what I wanted. Like,
a
hey,
lot
let's
of
get
people, some people did do that, but it was a higher percentage of people that were like, let me figure out something this person did wrong
oh my
in this
goodness.
hunt and let me point it out to them.
It's funny because like I'm at NWTF this weekend, right? And like face to face, the hunting industry is one of the coolest places that you could be a part of. One of the coolest things you could be a part of. The brotherhood is so like connected. Like the people that are willing to come out to shows like that
Yeah,
and
they're not going to be the ones that comment
dude, it's
like
freaking
something like
awesome. Like
stupid.
I'm getting stopped left and right. Dude, your YouTube channel's sick. Like, watch you on YouTube. People from down here in Tennessee, Florida, Wisconsin, all over the place. And I'd ask, like, hey, where are you from? Like, I don't know. How'd you hear about us? Thanks for watching. Like, these people are the reason that we do, that we can do what we do.
Yeah.
That I don't take that lightly. We don't take that lightly whatsoever. So, the flip side of it was, yeah, like this past weekend, being able to spend some face-to-face time with, the hunting industry, the people that like truly immerse themselves in this and just enjoy it for that camaraderie and that like
That's what
those
they're going
moments
down there
and
for. I mean, they're going down there with someone.
to
Like it's
enjoy.
a together thing. Like this is
Yep.
this is the beautiful part of the industry and the sport is like this is time to do like yeah, I'm getting in there. I'm going to a show with like-minded people. We can tell stories and that's what it's about.
Yeah,
But these
exactly.
people on the internet are not those people.
Faceless trolls. It is. I mean, it's going to be like, unfortunately,
It's funny. Some of these people like are too afraid to show face too because I'll like click on their profile too and like who is this person?
yeah.
And there's no
It's like
profile picture,
or
there's
it's like
no
a
cover
Ford
photo.
F-150 or something.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, then this is exactly what this person is right here. Is
Right.
they're too afraid.
Yeah.
Or they're not real, which is
Yeah, or
possible too.
yeah, very true. Very true. But
Yeah, but the shows like that are awesome too. Like ATA, I know we kind of spoke our piece on ATA. It's way different. It's not open to the public. So a show like NWTF is a whole different energy feel
oh my gosh, yeah.
because
It's so
people are coming there that aren't working in the industry. I mean, obviously there's people there that are, but they're like there to, hunting seasons are done and they're like, oh, I still want a piece of it,
still how to yeah, let's figure out a way to enjoy
I
this.
still want a piece of it. So you get that going there and everyone's excited and they're just hyped up and it's a good energy.
Yeah, I mean it's nuts. And I give credit to like, we've been talking about Waddell a lot on here, but dude, him and Nick Munt, the entire time that Cuzzy and I were at the show, Bone Collector's got a booth that's massive. It's like 3 or 4 different booths. Like you went around the
Sizes.
corner and there was another section and whatever. Dude, the entire time that we were there, both days, they had a line that wrapped around the corner of the one alleyway, and they were individually talking to people and signing autographs the entire time. But it wasn't about the autographs. Like I watched them talk to one guy for 10 plus minutes. And all the while, there's a line that's standing there, that's waiting to talk to them, but they're giving people that time of day. Like they are, for the time that they can at that show, which, dude, it had to be. Cuzzy and I were like, man, God bless these dudes. Like, God bless them for giving the time back to the people that, are buying their product, or buying, Bone Collector branded stuff, but they gave back to it. Like they were full on giving back to that. And like, I mean, I was proud of them. Honestly, I was proud of them because they don't have to do that.
No, they don't have to do
They
that.
don't have to do that. But they did, they did. They sat there and like, they don't put themselves above anybody else. It doesn't matter what they've shot, what they've experienced. I mean, they've probably gone on some of the craziest, most exotic hunts in the world, got to experience other countries and, multiple different species, and just literally hunting to the fullest. And they're willing to, basically stand there and give their time back to the weekend warriors, the average Joe hunters, the guys like you and me that just are immersed in it, loved it since the first day that we went out at a young age, whatever. And they sit back and just give that time consistently. I'm like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. It was pretty badass.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was pretty badass. And then like the Mossy Oak booth, dude, they had this, I mean, they literally had a space that was probably twice the size of the main floor plan of Camp Cutlet. That's how friggin' big it was. It was huge. It was like they had like almost two different little like cabins set up, and all this gear and all this. But dude, Toxie and his dad and Chris Paradise and dude, all the notables from Mossy Oak are right out there, front and center, greeting people. Hey, how you doing? Talking, bullshitting. Like, it's just like that part of the hunting industry is friggin' awesome. It's why we want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I think it's what a majority of the hunters and all of us, do and feel, and how we like interact within it. And so that's good. But then you obviously have the other side of, the faceless side of it that kind of social media provides, unfortunately. And, we don't really have to go into that, but I guess my point is this weekend was just like a very, for me, it was just very refreshing because it reminded me, why we're here, why we're even putting time into this, why we're documenting this stuff, why we're showing our lifestyle that revolves around hunting in the outdoors to begin with. It's because of how great of a space it is, because with the diehards, the people that do appreciate the tradition, the heritage, the camaraderie, and really the adventure, like we've talked about this whole podcast, to those people, that's why, because we're trying to add to it, add our little flavor to it in any way that we can.
It's good shit.
Sure is. I could still hear turkey calls. I've been hearing them in my sleep for the last like 3 nights.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
And the duck calls, like there was a lot of ducks going on.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
A lot of friggin' ducks in there.
I remember that last time I was there was any waterfowl, birds.
Oh my gosh,
just birds.
Yeah, ducks, geese. Holy shit, it was crazy. It was freaking crazy. But it's cool. I mean, yeah, it is it's cool to see everybody coming together like that and hanging out and bullshitting a little bit. Good shit. Well, What do you got on the agenda for today? Or the rest of the week? I'm heading to Puerto Rico on Wednesday.
I know. Are you guys pumped? You're leaving the U.S. but staying in the U.S.
Apparently.
This is funny because I'm decent at my geography.
Dude, you're decent at it. You got the just go ahead.
But I don't know why, and maybe
heard,
I knew this, but I did not know that like Puerto Rico was. I didn't know you didn't need like your passport.
I know that's part of the reason why we picked we wanted to go there
in the U.S.
Yeah,
I knew like the Virgin Islands of this that like, but I don't know. I didn't know that whole process was like you're basically in the U.S.
Dude, it's crazy because like Jake and Logan Paul, they live there now, and they live there because, I mean, they're taxed based on the U.S. tax system, but because they live in Puerto Rico, they pay way fucking less taxes, less taxes. So they're freaking down there training boxing and shit like that, and they're cashing in because they I mean, and that's legit. They'll say it like that's why they set up shop down there, because I mean, shit. And if it's between there or California, like they're getting
rocked in California.
They're getting rocked in California.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, like we could be saving millions.
Yeah, like Jeff Bezos just made his primary residence Miami, Florida, because of their tax
doing that too.
And he's literally like, because he just sold $2 billion in stock.
Holy shit!
He just sold $2 billion in stock, which is like he's got so much more, but he's just like, oh, I'll take a $2 billion paycheck, basically. But he saves because of the income tax thing, or there's no Florida doesn't have the capital gains thing, I don't think. He saves $600 million by being in his primary residence in Florida and filing that way. He doesn't have to pay $600 million in taxes.
Holy fuck.
What the hell?
What is going on here?
It's insane.
What is going on here? All the while, though, I saw a thing the other day at TikTok or Instagram, whatever, like we're printing all this money for Ukraine. Well, if we can just print money, then why are we all paying fucking taxes to begin with? Like, if that's what we can do, then why are we all held to pay taxes?
The Ukraine, that thing, it's all BS.
Shit's crazy, but
the amount of money we're just dumping over to them. And yeah, but because we're printing it, it's just taking inflation higher and higher.
We can eradicate the inflation by just printing this money for other countries, but we can't. But yeah, your taxes are rising because you guys all are more shit for living here.
But Biden's doing a great job, guys. He's doing a hell of a job.
Someday soon. But yeah, heading to Puerto Rico Wednesday. Should be interesting.
How long are you going for?
6 days.
Nice.
Little white sand, blue water action.
Hell yeah. You got to get some of that. Some of the healthiest things for your body are real vitamin D.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could feel it.
You got to breathe in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Breath work in the morning.
Do it.
You have to ground yourself with the earth, which is very hard to do for me right now because it's got to be shoeless. You have to touch the earth.
Okay.
You could just walk through your yard with no shoes on.
I love it.
But you have to ground yourself with the earth. You can't have shoes on. Very a little tough for me to do right now and all winter with the snow, but
well, maybe not though.
Vitamin D is one of the next things.
It's essential.
It's freaking essential.
We're pretty much like house plants with emotions, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta water us, and you gotta get that sunlight.
Talk to us. Have some interaction.
Talk to us nicely.
Talk to us nicely. Yeah, exactly.
And get us some of that vitamin D, baby.
Breathe on me a little bit.
That's it. We're just house plants with emotions that like to shoot bow and arrows from time to time.
That's hilarious.
Well, since I'm heading out of here, the next podcast might have to be a solo one unless you get a guest.
Oh,
which could be cool too.
You never know. Maybe it'll happen.
You never know. Could be cool too, but I know Dad and Uncle Jay are itching to get on here. We got to get some. We got to upgrade some equipment so we can cue them in.
Mm-hmm.
I know if anybody's listening to it this far, like my dad wants questions. He wants like 21 questions, but he said 10. But I don't know. He wants to answer the people. That's what he wants. He probably wants to give some dirt on us a little bit. Talk about how he likes hunting and takes it in and what he likes about it and what the values that it's brought him and stuff too. I don't know.
He probably could give a TED talk on some cooking.
Oh my God, yeah. We'd be here for
probably do a couple episodes on that, what he likes to do in the kitchen.
That's for sure.
He said last night, he's like, he's like, when I'm on the elliptical, I'm just watching cooking things. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking in new knowledge of cooking.
Maybe we just need to plan, like, all right, hey, make a meal or make a cutlet or I don't know. And then we gotta get in there with the cameras and just let them rip.
Give him one of these headsets with like the mic, and he can just cook while
the usher mic.
The usher mic, and he can just cook while he's talking.
Maybe dance a little bit.
He'll be like, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now.
I can tell you one thing. Every single pan, bowl, and utensil in the kitchen will be used for something.
It was last night when we went over there for dinner. I was like, I think the drawers, the cabinets are empty right now.
Maybe we should be
on the counter.
Maybe we should be looking for a Cuisinart sponsor or something,
Yeah.
Get us some bowls and pans and shit. Let us mix it up.
Could definitely have a plethora of content but he needs it. I mean, he goes through it.
Oh yeah,
he puts the miles on his
equipment,
on his cutlery.
He sure does. He sure does. That's fucking hilarious. Well, this was a good rap sesh, cuz.
Perfect. I got 1 minute left on my camera.
Yeah, we didn't even know what we were going to talk about initially. I don't think. In your camera, my timer says 57 minutes, so your camera got a little steam along the way. It's like a Tesla. It's recharging itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect.
Sony.
What did I say? 52 minutes? No, I think 57 was. Oh, but it does. It got a little bit because it's still going right now.
Yeah. I mean, I thought you said 54, but I don't know. We'd have to rewind and
really figure that one out
and go back and check it out. But y'all, thank you for hanging out with us again on this Wednesday or whenever you're listening to this, really, because it comes out on Wednesday, but that doesn't mean you got to listen on Wednesday.
You might listen on Friday.
Yeah. So if you're listening this far, thank you for making it this far. We hope you're having a fantastic day, week, and go follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Let's keep this party rolling. What do you say?
Let's roll.
Dino, they'll see you next week. I'll see you sooner than later, hopefully. And make it a great week, people.
God bless.